Hello, friends. Over the next couple of weeks, I plan to make a brief midweek video to share with you some things that God has laid on my heart, as well as some instruction that will be helpful in guiding us in these uncertain days. Now, if you're like me, there have been many challenges to this point as we've been walking through these adjustments we're having to make because of the virus. Things happened even just this last week that have stirred up all kinds of emotions: anger, frustration, fear, worry. For example, I was in the pharmacy line on Thursday afternoon, picking up some Sudafed, seasonal allergy kind of stuff going on, and this young man in his early 20s was standing in front of me, and he just begins coughing, and wouldn't you know, he didn't cover his mouth. Well, had this camera been on my face, I don't think I would have had this smile, right? I mean, you've been there, right? You've been in these situations where it kind of sits you back a little bit, sits you on edge a little bit. Not to mention that on Saturday. Now, I unfortunately waited till about 5 o'clock in the evening, but on Saturday I went to the grocery store. And if you did any grocery shopping over the last couple of days, you have probably run into this. Everything is running low, right? Went to the deli counter, and it was slim pickings as to what I could choose from. I go to the produce department. They're out of potatoes. They're out of onions. They're out of peppers. They're out of carrots. There's almost no bagged lettuce. There's no fresh lettuce. It's gone. I got the last package of strawberries. So if you came after 5 o'clock looking for strawberries, you can blame me. I'm sorry. I took the last one. But the cheese department, it was gone. There was no chicken left in the store. And don't even get me started on the toilet paper and the tissue aisle, right? Those are crazy. Absolutely insane. So to help us over these next days, weeks, maybe months, I would like to bring these kind of midweek videos as a way of bringing some biblical encouragement, some biblical hope, as we think about how to navigate well these next days, weeks, and dare I say months together. So these videos, I hope, will be an encouragement to you. I hope they will give you tools to bless your children, your loved ones, your coworkers, your friends, that you might be able to have some helpful resources to not only encourage yourself, but to encourage others that God has placed in your life. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of lay some groundwork. How do we begin to not only speak encouragement to ourselves, but also to speak encouragement to other people where they might be? And the first thing we really need to do is to enter their world with compassion and understanding. And so as we talk to ourselves, these are questions that help us understand ourselves and our circumstances a little bit better. So for example, we might ask ourselves, do emotions persuade you to be closed off from people or to cling to people more than what is reasonable? Right? We have that, right? We're to have a social distance at this point. But has the fear and worry and anxiety caused us to even more so overtly shelter ourselves and build up our walls to keep people away? Or have we found ourselves just terrified to have our kids out of our sight or have our spouse out of our sight? Has it created this sense of panic that we have to cling on to those folks that we love? Another good question to ask ourselves and to ask others that are in our lives is, do these emotions drive us or drive you to workaholism? Now, maybe you're saying, well, we're not allowed to go into the office or things have been closed. But I don't know about you, mentally, my brain has been going a mile a minute. And I have been in a frenzy trying to solve all these different problems and all these nuances. And as new information's coming out every gosh, it seems like every 3 to 6 hours, new information's coming out and new restrictions are coming out. It's overwhelming. And so have we created this sense of go, 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 work, 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 even if it's just mentally exercising over and over what's happening? Do these emotions drive you to procrastination or laziness? School's out for summer, maybe, right? There's no school, right? If you're a teacher, there may not be a lot of work, right? Maybe maybe you haven't showered. Maybe you haven't gotten out of your PJs in several days. Maybe Netflix has been your close companion, and that TV series that you binge and that you enjoy watching has fear, has worry, has concern caused you to turn inwardly and procrastinate and not take care of those things that we're responsible for? Another question would be, how do these emotions motivate you to seek safety, control, and certainty? Now, I hope that you're not one of the culprits to hoarding supplies. But this is a real big deal, right? In situations like this, we want to grasp any measure of control. And so we have 35 bottles of hand sanitizer and 7 jumbo packs of toilet paper. Right? Let's be mindful. Let's be wise. Let's not overreact and add to the frenzy and the craze. As we think about our own hearts, as we think about caring for those that we love, we need to be mindful and be alert to habits and patterns of thinking, behavior, and emotional responses. That'll help us to understand what's happening and what's going on inside of us. We need to listen for questions that we express in our hearts and that we might outwardly express to other people that sound kind of like, what if? What if this? What if that? Or we have statements that we say, if only this, if only that, right? Those are statements that really start to reveal what's happening on the inside that we can then begin to address in a truth-filled, loving, compassionate way. Here's another question to really think about. How do you self-medicate? How do you escape? What are your go-tos? In extreme ways, in extreme sins, some people might run to illegal drugs, alcohol, illicit sex, pornography. Or do you escape to more lesser, respectable sins of just gorging yourself on social media? Mindless, endless smartphone games or video games. Maybe online shopping instead of actual shopping, daydreaming, fantasies. Maybe you overwork. Maybe you just strive for this mindless rehearsing of your fears. Or do you take refuge in Him? You turn to God in humble, dependent prayer. So we have to begin by entering our world, entering another person's world with compassion and understanding. Second, we understand their particular occasion for emotional experiences. What is the occasion that is bringing about these emotional experiences? See, the occasion could be simply living in a world broken by sin. The rhythm and pace of most of our lives can easily cause us to think that things are okay. And we forget just how broken our world is, just how in desperate need of hope our world is. Now, we can't escape it. We don't have that luxury anymore. Everywhere we look, everywhere we turn, the pressure of this broken world is all around us, and we feel it pushing in on us. Everywhere we look, there is evidence that this is not how the world ought to be. This is not how things should be. Another occasion for these strong emotions of fear, worry, anxiety, anger, frustration, it can be the result of a good thing, a good desire that's been thwarted. It's been ruined. It's been turned aside. We read in 1 Samuel 1:12-20 of Hannah, who is barren and longs for a child. And so she experiences great anxiety and vexation. Well, you or your kids may be experiencing and struggling through the very same thing because they can no longer see their friends. Maybe today's their birthday, and they can't celebrate and have cake and ice cream and a party and their friends and their family over. Maybe they're missing out on special events at school. Maybe there's questions about a vacation, time off, the security of their job. There's all kinds of good desires right now that are being thwarted and put on hold and maybe even canceled because of all that's going on. Another occasion that can bring out these strong emotions can be the result of the fear of man. To what degree, if you're at home and you've been sent home to work from home, to what degree do you feel like you have to live up to a certain standard, either set by you or by someone else? Do you have a job where you can work from home and you just feel the significant pressure to prove yourself to your boss? Make sure to prove you're not slacking off? Well, this fear of man can really be a source of a lot of emotions that are happening on the inside of us. These strong emotions can be the result of the fear of human rejection or the result of human rejection. So we can either fear the rejection or we can actually be experiencing the rejection. We see that in Genesis 29:31-35 as Leah describes her experience in her marriage as being hated, afflicted, and detached and lonely. Do you fear that you're going to get sick? Are you concerned that people might shame you? That people might withdraw from you? They might say all kinds of things about you because you got sick? There's all kinds of reasons why these occasions for these emotions are happening right now. And so as we understand ourselves, as we understand those that we love, we need to enter their world, enter our world, and begin to look and understand what is happening that's leading to some of these emotions to rise to the surface and to be expressed. Well, the third thing we need to do, we need to enter their world. We need to understand why these emotional things are happening. And the third thing is, at the right time, we need to uncover the heart of the problem and go to Jesus Christ. Now, in future videos, we're going to take a deep dive into some scriptures like Matthew 6, Philippians 4, James 4, to help us uncover the heart of worry, anxiety, fear, and how to start taking some biblical steps in those areas of life. But I want to say today that the key component in all this is to take time to seek God as our refuge. God is our shelter. He is our strong tower. He is our refuge in this moment. So we need to never put our hope in anything that God has not guaranteed. So we need to seek the Lord, not a cure for our worry, anger, or concern. We need to seek the Lord, not the relief of our symptoms. And so we must go to God. James 5:13-14 says, "Is anyone among you suffering? Let him pray. Is anyone cheerful? Let him sing praise. Is anyone sick? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord." I mean, what James is saying is no matter where you're at, no matter your circumstances, good, bad, healthy, sick, doesn't matter, go to God. That's what we must tell ourselves. That's what we must tell our children who are fearful, tell our children who are upset about things that have happened. We need to aim to please God. 2 Corinthians 5:9 says, whether we are at home or away, we make it our aim to please God. Even in this is an occasion and an opportunity to please God. We need to make God our one thing. Make God your one thing. Psalm 27:4 says, one thing I've asked, one thing I've asked of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. One thing I've asked. One thing. Is God your one thing in this moment? In this pandemic, is God your one thing? And finally, we need to rest content in the Lord. Philippians 4:11-13 says, I have learned in whatever situation I'm in to be content. I've learned to be content. Paul's saying this. Paul's saying this while he's in prison. He says, I know how to be brought low. I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. So he's learned contentment. He's learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger. How? Why? Verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Friends, God is present in this moment. And he wants us to rest, actively, purposefully rest in him. So how might God be using this current struggle? How might God be using this current circumstance to grow your faith and to strengthen your trust and dependence upon him? God is sovereign, wise, and good, and he is using even a pandemic to draw us closer to him. Well, I want you to stay tuned for future videos that will help you do just that. Cling to God. Run to him as your rescue. Rest and fall upon his arms. May God bless and protect each one of you.